Hello! Today we are doing soccer from Hack the Box. It's a Linux machine and it's recommended in the TJNull List to prepare for the OSCP. So let's get started. As always, we start with a port scan and I'm using auto recon with the recursive flag enabled. Since scanning takes some time, I already run it before and we can have a look at our results. To do so, I'm starting a Python HTTP server in my directory with the results. And then we can browse the results in our web browser. We found 3 open ports. We found 1991, but we don't have any results here. We also found port 22 for SSH, and we found port 80, and it looks like a web server is running there. We can have a look at the Buster results, but it didn't find any endpoints. We can just visit this IP to see what's running there. And we can see there's a redirect to soccer.htb. So let's add this to our hosts file. And we can see a football club website is running here. We don't see a lot of information, so we can try running Bust again, but this time with this domain. So we can see Buster found 2 endpoints, tiny and also tiny uploads. So let's have a look at these. And we can see the tiny file manager is running here. We can check some default credentials like admin. This is not working. Also admin password. Also not working. What we also can do is we can Google for the default credentials for this service. And we can see the username is admin and password is admin@123. So let's try these. And we are logged in. We can see the version of Tiny File Manager is 243. And we can check if we find public exploits for this. We can see there's a path traversal vulnerability for this service. And we can see as authenticated users, we can upload some malicious PHP and achieve code execution. So this looks very promising. We can also have a look at the exploit linked here. We can scroll at the bottom. And we can see first a check is performed. This is checking if the tools are available like curl and JQ. Next, it's logging into the service, and then it's trying to find the web root, and then the exploit is happening. And what's happening is it's uploading a PHP shell and then trying to run this. So we can see this exploit is not very complex, and we can also do it ourselves. We can use one of the Kali PHP reverse shells. We need to change the IP of our Kali machine. And also the port. Then we can change the port. And also 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 Then we can start a netcat listener. We see we don't have write permissions in this folder. There's an uploads folder, so it's a very high chance that we can upload here. We uploaded our shell and we can see it here. And now we can click on direct link and we got the reverse shell back. Before we continue, we can stabilize our reverse shell. We press Ctrl Z, enter, and also export the term environment variable. We can see there is a user account player. And there's the user flag, but we don't have access to read it. So we can start some automated enumeration with LinPiece. We transfer the file. We don't have write permission here. We make it executable. And then we run it. So LinPiece is done and we can check if we can find something interesting. So this part is interesting. We can see in the hosts file, there's not just socket.htb, but also sock-player. So there might be a different service running here. And we can also see here in active ports, there is most likely a MySQL database running, and there is something else running at port 3000. So we can add this also to our hosts file and see if we can access it. The page looks similar, but we can see now a few more links. We have now match, login, and sign up. Looks like we see some soccer matches here. So we don't have any account for the login, but we can check if we can create a new one. We are logged in and we can see we have a ticket here. So let's enter this ticket ID and we can see the ticket exists. So we can try something else. And this ticket doesn't exist. Let's try entering this. It still says ticket doesn't exist. The same. We can inspect the source code. So we can see some JavaScript at the bottom and we have a WebSocket connection here. And we also saw this port in our port scanning. Let's open the developer tools. And here we can see the input we are sending. And we can see this doesn't exist. So we can check if we can perform any kind of injection attack here. And if we go back to our LinPiece results, we see there's a database running, which is MySQL. So we can check if it's vulnerable to SQL injection. And if we enter a wrong ID, we get the message ticket doesn't exist. We can add now a SQL statement. And now we can see this ticket exists because the second statement is true. We can change this to this statement. And now both statements are false, and we see the message ticket doesn't exist anymore. So we actually found an SQL injection here, and it's a blind SQL injection. And that makes it a bit difficult because we don't see any output. So dealing with blind SQL injections can give you some headache, and it's way more convenient to use SQL map. Unfortunately, it's not allowed during the OSCP exam. So first I show you how to solve this with SQL map, and then we have a look at how we can solve this manually. So we specify the WebSocket address. For the data input, we provide this string, which we can see here how the data is sent to the WebSocket. We want to drop the database names, and we also set SQL map to quite aggressive, to level high and risk free. We can see SQL map found 5 databases, and the one that's very interesting is soccer_db. And we can now drop the data of this database. Again, we provide the WebSocket endpoint. We specify how to send the data, and we say we want to focus on the soccer_db database, and we want to dump all data. And SQL map found the email address of player and also the password. And we can check if we can access the service with SSH. And we have access. So now let's have a look how we can do this without SQL map. So in general, we perform similar steps like before. We start with enumerating the databases. Then we enumerate the tables. We enumerate the columns. And then we want to dump the data. And for every step, we can see here the payload we are using. And what we need to perform is to brute force for every character and see if we get a found or not found answer back. So at the top, we can see we define our URL, and this is our alphabet. We are using all the lowercase characters plus digits, and we also have the underscore as a special character. We can, of course, add more special characters, but the more characters we add, the longer it takes. So the base structure of our payload is that we start with some ID that doesn't exist, and then we append our payload with OR. And we use limit and offset to go through the different routes. And we also use the like operator to do some matching if we found something. So here we go through our alphabet, and here at the add, in the like operation, we check if our current row data plus the new character gives us some results. We know this by checking if the ticket exists. So if the second statement here after the OR is true, we know we found some data. And whenever this happens, we add this new character to our row data, and eventually we get all the data back. So we can check this now in action. We start with enumerate databases. Now we want to enumerate the tables of the database soccer_db. And we found the table's accounts. So let's enumerate the columns. And now we can dump the data. First, we want to have all the usernames. And it found the username player. And now let's dump the password. So we found the password, but if you look closely, you see it's all lowercase. So we would need to update our alphabet and make our query also case sensitive. But it shows you how to do it in general without SQL map. We can now enumerating the machine as the user player. And now we can also read the user flag. So when we go back to our LinPiece results, we can see that doS is installed and it has the SUID bit set. And we can also run the dstat command. So we can go to GTFO bins and search for dstat. And we can see how we can escalate our privileges. So we can see we can store a Python script in one of these paths, and then it will be loaded as external plugin, and we need to name it like this. And all we have to do is to call dstat with this flag then. So we need to check where we have write permissions to create such a plugin. Of course, we have write permissions in our own home directory, but we will run the command as root, so this is not an option. And we can check one of these paths. And we can start with this one. And we have write permissions. And for our payload, we can click here on shell. And we can just copy this. We can check if our plugin was loaded, and we don't see it listed here. So it looks like the hack the box cleanup mechanism deleted our file. So we need to be quicker. I also used the wrong data name. It needs to be dstat underscore. Now we can see it listed here. And we have root access. And we can see the root flag. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you next time.